So today I'm going to be looking at a fantastically simple approach which has been developed by colleagues in policing to help with communications and management of the most significant issues impacting on their force on a daily basis. I say simple because it's why wouldn't you do this when it's out of the box capability of 365. It's a no cost, just a little bit of effort to leverage some of the fantastic, well established tools that we've got that are compliant with our information assurance and audit capabilities, all within the Microsoft 365 platform. Today, I've got the pleasure of being, I've got great pleasure to introduce James Evans, who's from Kent Police. And James, I think, could you start off first by explaining your role and the problem you wanted to tackle?
Yeah, hi David, thanks for inviting me on today. So my name is James Evans. I'm an inspector within Essex and Kent Police. I'm actually a Kent officer, but obviously we're a collaborative two forces. And so my role is Microsoft 365 TAC advisor to both forces, so to help develop, integrate and support its use across the business, so involving migration but also use of all the applications. This specific subject we're talking about today is what we've called the daily operational briefing tool, which we wanted to have a solution, a simple cost-effective solution to replace what effectively was around 200 emails that get sent out every day to a number of staff. So the requirement was, and always has been, for chief officers and gold commanders across both forces to be able to be made aware of significant incidents that have happened overnight and the last 24 hours. You know, significant things that may affect the force reputation or risk to the force. And so previously the solution for that was for the force incident managers, the inspectors within the control room, to collate a list of those within an email. And of course the problem with that was that as soon as they hit send on that email, it was a one-way flow of traffic. So, you know, we wanted to provide a solution to that, and that is Microsoft Lists. So don't know how much you want to hear about that today, whether you want more questions and answers. I can go on.
I think what we need to do is just carry on with the scene set, and then let's actually get into a demonstration of the product. So just to define this, so it's a more auditable, easy to update, real-time solution, the old Word document and an email that you send. Once you've sent, of course, it's sent. People open it will get the version that it was at the point you send it. And of course, this is already in use in the force. So perhaps we're probably better off if you can share your screen and let's see this in action.
Absolutely. I mean, just to explain, we wanted to deploy it within Microsoft Teams so that it's available on mobile, which it is, because of course operational gold commanders who may well be out on the field can see that within a mobile friendly environment. And as you quite rightly said, within the functionality within Lists, it provides that really important audit controlled access. And we can review and archive those incidents. The view capability within Lists really tidies it up so that people can have a clean focus on what it is they need to be reviewing at the time. So perhaps if I share my screen now, I can show you. So just by way of reassurance, I guess all the information I'm showing you here is made up data and doesn't involve real incidents. Can you see the screen okay, David?
We can.
Okay, so we've created a team here called the Daily Operational Briefing, and the demo here is an exact replica of the live system that is in use now. And it probably, you know, worthy of mention that we're quite proud that when it went out for the 2-week trial, we had 0 calls for support or errors or anything go wrong. And indeed, since it's been live for the last 8 weeks, we've had no support calls, no errors or any requirement. So, and I think which is testament to the simplicity of the system. Very little flow connection or automation involved at all. So within
James, it's really important for people to recognise that this is embedded within Teams. It's not a separate solution.
Yeah, absolutely. So all we did here was to create a team called the Daily Operational Briefing, and of course within the structure here we've got the files which of course we're looking at in the Teams communicator application at the moment, but these are two simple folders, some guidance for staff for how to use the system and on-call rota. So this is very simple information for people. But what, of course, we wanted to do was to bring some of the additional tabs into this view so that people can quickly navigate to what it is that they require. And this is one of those. There's a guidance link here just for some guidance for people. I've even brought in a link to a Microsoft form so people can give some feedback on the use of the system and its early stages, which has been very helpful. But moving back to the main featured tab here, for those of you that don't know, obviously we opened the team in SharePoint and just simply edited that team's homepage to provide some simple functionality here, which are these buttons are simply a replica of the homepage, which directly link to the Microsoft list. So what we're looking at here is all of these tabs, all these buttons we're looking at here relate to two Microsoft lists, the non-sensitive incidents and the sensitive instance. And just by way of explanation, the sensitive might involve a member of staff or something that's significant risk to the reputation of the force. And the audience group for this one is therefore slightly restricted to just the author and the chief officers. The non-sensitive ones here will be available to all of the gold commanders and the chief superintendents within with the force. So what we're looking at here is the ability for the force incident manager or the inspector to be able to enter a new incident in either of the two categories, and also to be able to look at those Microsoft lists. And what we're looking at here are different filters. So these are just simply different filtered views. So David, did you want me to go ahead and open one? And
yeah, shall we perhaps start off with how you put the data in, and then we can see how that comes across?
Absolutely. So real simple guidance for end users. Simply, if there is an incident of note which they would otherwise previously have reported on in an email or a Word document, then you simply need to click this button here and enter a new incident. So when they do that, and of course that's mobile friendly, you can do this from the mobile device. It's very simple and quite intuitive. In fact, I think it looks slightly cleaner on the mobile device than it does on the desktop sometimes. But nonetheless, here we have selected some mandatory fields. In fact, most of them are mandatory, so we can capture the date and the time of the incident. Simply select OK, the reference number, the incident type, and chief officers steered me in terms of what incident types we wanted to report on, and we can select more than one there if we want to. The division is dropped down, color coordinated to the district, which of course this provides filterable information. So when we look at the other end, we can allow the end users to focus on incident type, date type, and division and district. And this one here is who is actually entering the information. So there's that audit trail there of who the creator was. This one this one here is the gold commander, so we can put whoever the gold commander happens to be at that particular time. And in doing so, there's a really simple automation here which sends the gold commander an email to say you have a new incident that needs to be reviewed, something significant has come in and we'd like you to review it, please. And then this circumstances and outcome here, you'll notice that we've got this append function. For those who perhaps don't know, one of the selections in the drop down of the columns is that you can append, and so any text that we put in here and then save cannot be changed by the author or the contributor. So whilst they may be able to say further to the above, actually it was a red vehicle or a green vehicle, we can't go and edit that text. So that's a good fail-safe in terms of audit.
Time and date stamps it with the user who entered the data in, doesn't it? So it's very clear in giving you that capability of being able, so who said what when is all in there.
Absolutely. This one's ongoing threat, harm and risk, and again we've got the same append functionality within there. This one here, this with respect to the entry to say this is for gold use only, we've also requested that it defaults to reviewed by gold as no, What that does when we look at the filter is it puts it on a separate view list of this list, filtered list, sorry, so that people at a glance can see what has not yet been reviewed by Gold. So it adds that clarity and focus. And once the Gold commander goes in and changes this to yes, then it will simply drop off the view of outstanding to be reviewed and go into the main last 30-day view, which we'll show you in a second. And when the Gold commander does come to review it, they can put their text in here, made the recommendations, etc. And at this point, excuse me, can make a decision whether this incident is so significant that it needs to be brought to the attention of ultimately the chief and the deputy, and therefore for the force threat assessment. If they do choose that selection and select yes, it will go into another filtered view to identify that which needs to be brought to the force threat assessment. And then indeed, once it has been brought to the attention of the chief and the deputy, the staff officer can simply select discussed at the force threat assessment. So we still have that audit trail of what the Gold commander chose to be decided to be discussed there, and then what was discussed. So in terms of an audit, this really simple filter and function here is providing what we need in terms of ease of use and audit. If I go ahead and
that's a really simple form to complete. It gives you, basically just asks you for the key information that you're going to put in there, and then that's put into the platform. And I think for those who aren't familiar with lists, when you realise about the view filtering that you've got with the capability, you'll realise how vital that those mandated fields and those choice columns really do give you a lot of options. So you've added an instance, so what would be the next step?
So the next step is in terms of a force incident manager inspector who's submitted that incident. The beauty is that they can submit that there and then, of course, throughout the course of their shift. If there is an update, then they can select that particular incident and go into that. And as we said, they can add additional information to that particular. You can see here the date timestamp that you were talking about earlier on, David, and we can select that. And we can add some more information that may have come to light. And again, that will have date timestamped there, auto saves it. We can see there's the audit trail around that. Simply closing that will ensure that's updated. Now, from a review perspective, what we're looking at here, this view is the last 30 days. So this is simply a filtered view. For those of you who weren't aware, you can select this, create a new view, and then we can edit the view accordingly to bring back whichever filtered information we want. You'll notice here on the left-hand side, we've got some navigation, which is the non-sensitive instance, the last 30 days. We chose 30 days because it adds that clarity for district commanders or end users who want to look at the information and might not necessarily want to scroll through a significant period, but nonetheless at a glance can then go and pull that data when they want it. And that's a key point. We're not pushing information to the user. The user is going and viewing it on demand when they need to or when they want to, which links into the audit trailer. We're not sending a series of emails out to whom we don't know if they've read them or not. A couple of other views we've got. Sorry, go on, David.
I was just going to say, if you can go back to the home screen, so again, it matches back to the home screen again for people. That would make it a bit more, that might just help people to translate it.
Yeah, so the views that we've got on the left-hand side here are the navigations that we've added in from the list. So these are simple links into the homepage, which is replicated in the actual homepage itself. So the navigation here is replicated down here. So we can select the last 30 days. We can select, like we said earlier on, those non-sensitive instances for Gold review. If I select this one, I'm a Gold commander. For my 8-hour period of duty, I can see at a glance that this incident here, this attempt murder or serious assault, I can double click on that one and open that as a Gold commander. I'll have just received my notification via email to say I've got an incident that needs to be reviewed. So I can select that, select yes, put my comments in the Gold box, in the comments box here. I've made a decision it's not, or in this instance, it is required for the force threat assessment. It is a significant incident. And now, as I close this, it will automatically come off of this list if I refresh that screen. Because we were in the gold review, so now that one has been reviewed. But if we were to look at, and I'll go back to the home page for ease of reference here, if we were to look at those incidents that are deemed for the force threat assessment, we can now see that that one has appeared on that list. So this now tells the chief and the deputy there are 2 incidents here that need to be discussed by the chief officer, by the chief and the deputy for further review. And again, once we select that one and the staff officer has notified that that's been dealt with, we can select discussed at the FTA. It auto saves down there. Go back to this screen, hit refresh, and it's come off of that particular view for the force threat assessment there. So, you know, a really simple set of instructions to the list filter that moves the incidents around and just gives the clarity for the end user.
And I think that's an important point for people who aren't used to lists. But once you move something from one to another, it doesn't actually move the data, it just changes the view that's available and where that data is available. So any incidents that are 31 days old are still held in the SharePoint list, but they're just not longer visible by the default views that you've set up. So James, if there was a case that you needed to go back to 2 months ago to review an incident because it's under investigation, that's possible through the admin team?
Absolutely. So I can show you within, just for simplicity, I've created a private channel here. It's called Archive Instance, so that the 5 owners of the team have got this. You know, you could make this more complicated if you chose to, but actually, forgive me, I haven't put the document in there, but I've got a link here which literally will take you to the all lists view, so it will have all of the incidents that have ever been recorded over the entire time frame.
And again, the beauty of lists means that it automatically logs who was the last person to update it, append it. All those things are part of your cover, and of course you've got your MOPI scrutiny in there as well.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. The audit trail, and it's been helpful already. Whilst this is not a command and control, this is not a policy log or a decision log, this is simply a heads up to chief officers to say you might need to go and review this incident in more detail. This is not seen as an evidential audit trail or a crime report. There's a separate place for that. This is simply a tool to give people the heads up that there's something that might need to be looked at. And the sensitive instance over here works exactly the same. The only difference with the sensitive incidents is that within the list settings, we've adjusted the permissions so that only the chief officers themselves can view all of the incidents, whereas the force incident manager who creates the incident is able to create and edit and therefore update their own. And by edit, I mean contribute to their own. Whereas the non-sensitive ones, the author is able to contribute to, and then the gold commanders only are able to contribute to their element of that. So, you know, without getting into too much detail with permissions and list settings, what obviously I'd advise to people is to have a look at list settings, have a look at the advanced settings, and have a look at permissions. And with a little bit of trial and error, you can actually lay out that to test members' access, etc.
And I think, you know, we're only sort of scratching the surface of the power of the list. This isn't an app. I think that's an important point. This is a list and a few flows to do the automated notifications more than anything else. It is quite a simple thing to self-build or to use as an example. And of course, I know we'll share those details. James, what would your message be to forces in relation to using this, and what should they do to make this happen?
Yeah, and just to come back on one point you said there, David, actually, there's only one flow connector. So in the non-sensitive instance, it is purely a Microsoft list with permission groups created in there. So what happens is, as you know, when you create the team, every member of that team, they inherit the permissions that come with a membership of the team. And so all that you need to do is disinherit the permissions and create your own permission group. So the non-sensitive one has absolutely no flow connection. It's Microsoft List completely out of the box. Sensitive instance has one flow connection, and that one flow connection just enables the gold commander, whoever that may be, to be notified there's a new instance, and that's it. And it took about 2 or 3 minutes to set that flow connection up. So in terms of support and IT support, that is really simple. I suppose my advice would be, we've been on a journey with this. It's an out-of-the-box solution. It's a zero-cost solution. As I say, we've had no support calls, or I don't know how to use it calls. And what it's done is it's opened up a plethora of other deployments, from our CID night duty reporting tool to automating some service desk calls, some use within dog handlers, reporting on equipment and other things. So it's been a journey. It took around 25 to 30 hours tops for me and a couple of others to spec this. But of course, in doing so, we were very much in the concept and exploration. I think now to set another one up like this and even, you know, share with others, and I'm more than happy to talk to other people listening to this call, it wouldn't take as long as that, because the concept is there. Great solution, saving us a lot of time. Obviously there is there's zero cost, but also I think providing that integrity, that audit trail, and unnecessary noise of emails. There are 0 emails involved for people to have to read.
Absolutely, and of course it does mean that the data is managed in a more effective way. It can't be shared without permission and all those things. I know we're going to take a few questions from the audience in a second, and we do thank you for sharing this, and we will do more on lists, because I think there's a huge opportunity for policing in using lists. So we will do some more webinars and workshops on them in the coming months. We do want your feedback on webinars, so if you can let us know what you think about them, how you get to know about them, what you think we should be featuring in our survey, you can scan the QR code. We'll pop the link on the screen as well. Please do get involved, and remember, we've always got more events coming up all the time. We're constantly building them up. We've got the fantastic redaction workshop, which we're expecting a huge number of people to join us for, and then the events all the way through to the new year are already on the PDS website. But James, from me, thank you very much. I know we're going to take a few questions now, but hopefully people can learn something about this and be inspired to do a little bit more with lists, and perhaps reduce some of those burdens of emails that we've got flying around policing at the moment.
So thanks to David and thanks to James. We do have one question in the chat, which I know James has answered, but just in case you haven't seen the chat, James, do you want to talk about the potential of taking this into, I suppose, other parts of the force?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that, and we are looking at doing that with the CID night duty reporting is a good example of that. So whilst not necessarily of chief officer significance, it might be significance for the district or the divisional commander to know what's happened overnight in that area. It might be a travel incursion, it might be a significant crime that the night duty DI has dealt with. And so you can use the same sort of tool just to report that on a more local level. And again, the same ability to discharge it once it's been discussed at the morning meeting. So yeah, it's been a good proof of concept for us, but you could certainly use it in lots of other deployments.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And obviously those that are spotting the continuity opportunities, we pre-recorded part of this because David has had to travel to the other side of the world to represent PDS at a conference in Australia. So we thank Dave for doing the work, and as there are no further questions, we thank you, James, once again for the contribution and really bringing to light a wonderful opportunity to bring more efficiency to the reporting that we do to our chief officers. We won't be having a webinar next week because we will be at the APCC NPCC conference, but we'll be sending out details for the remaining 3 or 4 webinars that we have for the rest of 2023 before we take a break in mid-December and come back again in early 24. So if you do have any ideas around future webinars and events, please send them through to us, because we really are interested to hear about what you've done and how you've moved your use of digital data and technology forward in your police force. So my thanks again to James and to Dave Bailey, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Thank you.